Hello, hello. I am John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I am proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, I am leaving YouTube. My interaction with the Michael Jackson community and YouTube has just been a horrible experience. The fact that I can't get people that claim to be Michael Jackson fans to have a conversation about Michael Jackson. Wow. Whoa, my God. I can't even tell you what a horrible. I can tell you what it you want to know what it feels like. Think about Michael Jackson getting ready to kill himself on the last day of his life. That's what it feels like. I know exactly how Michael Jackson felt. I know exactly why he killed himself. Because he had no family, he had no friends, he had no fans and shit. Horrible experience. The Michael Jackson community, the people in the community are just fucking disgusting human beings. They're so pathetically stupid, morons. It's just fucking disgusting, just absolutely disgust, right? And then it's like, I have my other page and stuff, and it's like, well, I've encountered really that it's just all of the people in the internet. It's this internet people, you know. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's so bad. It's hard for me to really understand. It's like, is it really? Because I know there's like a thing about like when I talk down about people and call them idiots and all this stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, but every single one of those fucking idiots, loser morons, there's something out there they can do better than me, for sure. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. Now, the skill that they have, obviously, if I did it, I'd be better at them. I could get better and stuff. But as it sits right now, they've got skills that I don't have. That there's things that they're better at than me. It's just weird like that. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, even though I hate people and despise them, they're so losers and stuff. It's like, dude, it doesn't mean that they're worthless and shit in reality. And so there are things they can do and shit. I'm not saying I'm the greatest. Everything's the great. It's not even like that and shit at all. But just these internet people are just. I don't understand how people can allow themselves to be the so fake loser, fucking moron frauds they are. I don't understand how you could ever allowed yourself to become that way and shit, right? It's fucking just horrible and shit, right? So I've had enough, right? The people come by and given me information and tried to help with the investigation. That's all cool. I appreciate it and stuff. But what I needed you to do was to have a YouTube page and to be constantly talking about my story, be talking about my video, talking about the evidence. I needed in the Michael Jackson homepage, I needed there to be constantly other videos from other YouTubers talking about my story, analyzing it, saying this is what evidence he's presenting. Let's talk about it. And nobody ever did that. I don't know. It's like, it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, I appreciate your help and stuff, but the thing that I needed from any of you people, you never did it. And it's like, how do you get people to fucking do shit that's so simple? It's like, oh, look if you want to help, this is what you've got to do, And over the years and stuff, it's like, I can't make that in every video. I can't tell every single person, this is what you need to do. I can't make every single video saying, this is what you need to do. You gotta you sit there and hope that some idiot out there will finally figure out what they need to do if you want to help. So any of the people, like when you're saying you helped and shit, it's like, well, what did you help? I don't know. The only person that ever did anything that ever mattered was the James L. writing the article in Reddit. It's like one person wrote one article, and because of that, it spawned all kinds of news stories and all the story, all the media revolving around the interest in my work comes from that. It didn't come from me. I mean, he reported upon my work, but it was his page that did all that. One person did one page in Reddit, and it got all this attention. I can't find anybody doing it. Nobody does that shit. And people are just so pathetically stupid. I just it's like I said, it's just an overwhelming feeling of disgust. That's all I can talk about. Like my experience in here doing this stuff, I'm just overwhelming, filming with disgust, and I'll never get past that. It doesn't matter if the story comes out and how things go, and everybody's trying. Like it just absolutely doesn't matter. You can't come back at me now and act like you like me, that you appreciate my work, and like I can't deal with the society. I'll never accept that from society, right? Never. I don't want to be friends with nobody. I don't want no fucking people trying to claim that you did something. I don't want no attention to nothing. The story will remain and it'll be out there and it lives on. Like I said, it's up to God now. It's completely out of my hands. So I'm done with it. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I don't want anything to do with fucking nobody, fucking nothing. Just mention before I was going to show you a couple little things here, but before we get into that, I just wanted to mention because the fact that it's Sony buying Michael Jackson's actual music catalog, that they're the ATV catalog, I don't care about that at all. The fact that the Jackson estate or whatever, that they let that go and stuff for a payday. And that was just some property that he owned and stuff, right? I really don't care about that at all. It really doesn't matter and shit or whatever. So if it was a good business decision or not, that's for them to decide in the future and shit, whatever. But that's not. But Michael's personal catalog and his personal music, and you got to remember, this is supposed to be Michael Jackson, who's part of the Jackson family, right? This is like the thing is like. And remember, Michael straight out came out and was saying frickin' Tommy Mottola's the devil and Sony's evil. Like he really, he had a problem with them and stuff, right? There was an actual thing there where he got into it. And like I say personally, I think that was Michael's fault. I think Michael made a bad decision there. I think he was the one that was causing Sony to react that way because Sony's just going to react like a business. That's it. They're in the music business. They're not trying to do whatever. Michael had these other agendas of things of what he was trying to do. Sony doesn't care about that. They're just looking at as a business and a commodity and how does this work? How is this going to affect, so they're just making business decisions. And to think that Sony would try and sabotage Michael so that they can end up with the Beatles stuff. It's like, dude, they already had the Beatles stuff. They've already owned half of it. Once Michael joined the ATV comboed with the Sony music catalog, okay, well, that means Sony owned half of the rights to that. Plus, now they were in control of the Beatles' music, being able to sell it out for commercials and all that stuff. That's what I say is the thing about what I think Michael was interfering in that. And Sony's like, knock it off. You're in business with us now. We're the ones doing the business. You don't have any more say in this. We do the business. We decide what the music gets sold to. And Michael kept trying to interfere in that. And I think that's when Sony is like kind of pushing back and being like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing and shit. And without us, that's when I think that's one of those kind of things. It's like a parents to a kids. You kind of have a relationship with the parents and kids. There's kind of a point where the kid starts thinking they're smart and they know it all. And the parents are like, shit, what are you? Without me, what are you? And it's like, well, you want to go see what you are in the world? Okay, here, go out in the world and go see what you're like and see what it's like without my assistance and having me by your side and knowing that I'm your protector and shit, right? And that's kind of the relationship of how it developed with Sony. I'm not a person who looks bad on Sony like how Michael Jackson. That Michael had problems and came straight out and was. I just like that's a company. A company business a certain way, and Michael Jackson had been around the music business for so long and all the stuff he sure as hell damn well knew the business. And there's a big point I would point out is that okay, the Jackson 5 were called the Jackson 5 when they went to Motown, right? But when they leave Motown owns the name the Jackson 5 and they can't even use that name anymore. That's why they go to the Jacksons, right? The reason they go to the Jacksons is because they're legally not allowed to use the Jackson 5. Motown owns that name, right? So Michael would have, and imagine, like I said, imagine if Michael is part of the Jackson family and shit, right? That should have been extremely offensive to him, and that he should have learned a lesson about, and this is like, we're talking about Berry Gordy, who's the black guy, and for the black people and stuff, and look at what Berry Gordy did to your family, Michael. But will you ever hear, did Michael Jackson ever come out and say, Berry Gordy's the devil, you know, Motown's evil? He sure as hell never fucking said that. And look at what they did. Look at the fact that the Jacksons came to Motown with the name the Jackson 5, but didn't leave with it and couldn't use it. Boy, that's some scandalous shit. That's ruthless and shit, right? Like I was saying, Michael went through those experiences, right? But you don't ever hear him talking shit about Berry Gordy or Motown and shit, right? And like I said, there's the weird dynamic because it's like Michael's not part of he's really not a Jackson. And that's what I'm saying about the new thing that's occurring. Now, if you're the Jackson family, like the Thriller album to me is completely untouchable. There's no chance, no way in hell. It should be all Michael's records, right? That stuff should be completely untouchable. There's plenty enough money to go around. And, you know, what the hell? Why would they ever need to do that? What would be the purpose for selling that? It makes the thing that where I'm going is like, well, because Michael's not their kid. He's really not their kid. And one of the things that's really bugging me is the Beat It that they're saying now that Beat It has been bought by Sony, that they've allowed that song to go, right? And it's like, well, that's what I've been saying. It's like, first of all, the Thriller album should have been untouchable in a way that's untouchable. No fucking way ever. The Thriller album should have been untouchable. I mean, it's no possible way. Because that's the other thing too. Is like, well, the kids got to sign in off. They've got to sign off on this stuff too. Because they've got to be like executors of the estate through John Branca and stuff. The kids got to have some say. There's got to be some shit in there. I'm sure Branca's making his decisions, but John Branca too is like, dude, he's smart. He's smart. He understands like Michael and his legacy and stuff, right? He understands all that stuff. The fact that any of the Michael Jackson songs would ever come up for sale to me bugs the fuck out of me, because it's like, how do you be the family of Michael Jackson, right? How do you be the family of Michael Jackson and you're selling off his stuff, his music? It's mind-boggling and shit. It's really, it's crazy. It's like hard to understand how that could ever occur and shit, right? But the Thriller album, and not just the Thriller album, one of the songs that Michael actually wrote, because he doesn't write all the songs on the Thriller album and stuff, right? But so the songs, the ones that he actually wrote, you know, like a Billie Jean and Beat It, I mean, those are untouchable. There's no possible way, no possible way. But when you hear like my story that Michael's not actually a member of the Jackson family, you know, that his real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson, and I've explained the song Beat It, which in my explanation of the song Beat It, because you start with the first line, it's a straight attack on Joseph and Catherine. It's straight attacking Joseph and Catherine. The first line, they told him, don't you ever come around here. We don't want to see your face. You better disappear. The fire's in their eyes and their words are really clear. So beat it. That first whole line, I've explained it in detail, more stuff, but I don't even want to go into explaining everything and shit, but it's a full-on attack against Joseph and Catherine. And it's Catherine too. That's the thing too. It's not just Joseph. It's Joseph and Catherine. That it's that song, right? That's the song I identified. I explained it saying how that is an attack on fucking Joseph and Catherine and shit, right? And Michael's like stepping out and separating from the family. That's the song that declares his independence and he's going to step away from the family. Like that's the song that I identified as that song. And what do we find out now? That Jacksons are selling some of Michael's songs, and what song have they sold? They've sold Beat It. You know, and it's like, well, how do you explain that? If you're like Michael Jackson fans, or if you're Michael Jackson family, how do you explain that? How do you really, because that should be untouchable. There's no possible way that something like that could ever be sold. There's no, like, I bet Bob Marley's kids, I bet Bob Marley's family, I bet they own all of his stuff, you know, which I don't know if they do and stuff, but probably, you know, there's people like, you know, the people that own stuff that, you know, that they would just sell stuff off like that. It's like, man, that's crazy and shit, right? It's really mind-boggling shit how people just sell stuff off. But Michael Jackson stuff, it's like, dude, since he's died and stuff, Michael Jackson's name and his stuff has just made them all super rich. They're all super rich now because they're all digging into that. They've all got their hand in the fucking cookie jar and shit, right? And they're all just living off of it. And the reality is like a song like Beat It, which was an insult and a separation from the family and stuff. And it's like, now that they sold that song, how could that song ever be sold? How could you ever sell Beat It? How could you ever dip into the Thriller album and at any level? How could that ever occur? How could you ever, the greatest selling record, because there's the Eagles thing, but that's the greatest hit. So that technically doesn't really count as the greatest selling record. We wouldn't count that. There's a thing like in the sports card community that there's always the thing that's like, they call like, oh, that's his true rookie, you know, or that's the real gold, you know, that's the real one of one. There's like these words of how things like that, how we talk about it, right? So that's what I would say, like with the Thriller album. Well, the Thriller album is the greatest selling record of all times because the Eagles is the one that's the greatest selling Eagles record is a greatest hits album. You know, so that's not the same exact thing as like Thriller. That's the Thriller album. That's the biggest selling album of all time, which should be completely untouchable. If you're part of, I mean, that's like his masterpiece artwork. How do you allow anybody to come in there? And once they've opened the door and allowed a piece of it to go, well, it's just a matter of time now before it all goes. They've shown now they're willing to sell it, that it is for sale. Michael Jackson's legacy is now for sale to the highest bidder and shit, right? At the right time, they'll sell it off and shit, right? It's if they did that, why won't they sell it and shit? And why wouldn't they? Because Michael's not part of their family, you know? And his songs, they must know some of the real meanings of those songs and shit, right? And it kind of, they don't care about that stuff. Let it go. They don't need it to be part of their family because it's not what they want. It's not what they want. Plus, the Jacksons now, after the movie comes out, the Michael Jackson biopic and shit comes out, and Jafar, now they're going to steal Michael Jackson's legacy. They're going to start touring as the Jacksons, and they're going to have like Jafar playing the Michael Jackson character, and they're going to go back on tour as the Jacksons, especially after the movie and stuff. And that's what they're going to try and do. They're definitely going to be trying to do that and shit, right? So now they're going to be like fully like still in his legacy, still in his dynasty, still in his image, still in his music, everything. They've got it all. Now they've taken everything from him. They've literally, they took everything from him as a kid, took everything from him in his life and shit. He never got to have any separation. They always claimed ownership of him. And now they've taken control of all of his actual artwork. And now they're selling it off to the highest bidder and shit. And it's like, that's Michael Jackson's story. And the only thing with Michael Jackson, the only thing that would have ever meant anything to him is that somebody could actually understand his songs and tell his true story, that he was actually an abandoned child, that his real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. That's the only thing that you can ever give back to Michael Jackson. It's the only thing that you could ever do for Michael Jackson is to let the world know who he really was. Right? That's it. That's all there is. There is nothing to be done. The fans thinking that they're, I'm gonna support Michael Jackson by talking, did you see this new picture of Jafar? And that's all you can do? That's all you can do as a Michael Jackson fan? Oh, look they gave us a new picture. Yay. They're going to create a movie all based around lies. Yay. They're going to create the story of Michael Jackson that they want to tell. All lies. Nobody's telling Michael Jackson's real story. Oh, yay. Yay. Whatever. You know, that's what I said. It's pathetic. And the fans and shit are just horrible. They're not real fans and shit. And I'm going to show you a thing too, where the fans think, I've got all his records and stuff, right? And so like I'm going to show you a thing that to me that's a disgusting thing. It's like you people don't actually like music. You're not real music fans, which that's why you don't understand the difference between how much other good stuff is out there. You're just Michael Jackson fans. And it's like, dude, there's all kinds of other music and shit, right? I'm going to show you a piece of that too. So this video right here, this is a video that people use in YouTube. This says Michael Jackson gets disappointed at the Grammy Awards. So there's a thing where there's multiple videos on this and stuff, right? So they'll show these pictures and they'll be like, Michael's disappointed that he didn't win an award. And they'll show him where he's got that jacket on, the jacket that he's got. This is the 1988 Grammys and shit, right? So they'll show that jacket and they'll show little pictures of him looking like he's disappointed. Okay, the award, when Michael's in the audience here wearing that jacket and he's given the reaction and shit, the award that he did not win was won by Smokey Robinson. Okay, it was like best R&B soul singer. It was something like that, whatever it was. Smokey Robinson won that, okay? And it was the only Grammy that Smokey Robinson has ever won, right? And even if Smokey's not Michael Jackson's dad, that's Smokey who wrote fucking a lot of the songs and was a big part of the Jackson 5. There's a big deal, right? So Michael Jackson wouldn't, even if Smokey's not his dad, Michael wouldn't be disappointed. So like when they're showing that stuff, it's like, dude, the award that you people are acting like Michael's so disappointed that he didn't win the award. It's like, okay, you know that Smokey won that award, which is actually Michael Jackson's actual father, and that's the only Grammy that Smokey ever won. And it's like, if Michael Jackson is offended and disappointed on a situation like that, boy, what a petty human being. And what I'm going to show you here is that the music runs in cycles and stuff, and there's different things in different eras. Because a perfect example, because I believe Nirvana knocked off Michael Jackson out of the ¡1 spot. That was a big thing and shit, right? But there was a thing about Nirvana where they say Nirvana killed was the glam rock in the 80s. He completely destroyed that. When the grunge scene came on, there was a significant thing, because I believe in history there's a thing that the Nevermind album knocked off. I'm thinking at that time it must have been like Dangerous and shit, right? So it knocked the Dangerous album out of #1 spot on the Billboard charts, and Nevermind went on. So that was a thing where you had the thing that's like, yeah, the Kurt Cobain and the Nevermind, it surpassed the Michael Jackson. So it's a symbolization of that we're in a new era now. We're in a new era, that the King of Pop thing is the pop music and stuff, but there's other music, and now we're in a new era of music. It's like you go through the eras, like the 50s. If you go to the 50s sound of music, and then you look at the 60s sound of music, and then you go like the 70s and the 80s, there's the different eras. The music sounds different, and the different eras, there's a lot of different sounds going on there and stuff, right? So that was like a symbolization. It was like with the Kurt Cobain, it's like, oh, we're in a new era now. We're in a new era now, and it proved it, because now this album of the Nirvana, Nevermind, knocked off Michael Jackson. And I believe it was the Dangerous, knocked him off the #1 chart, the #1 position and stuff. But boom, Nevermind went in there. But then also it spun the whole grunge era scene, which was great music. It was real rock and roll, really good, really good. The grunge metal bands and stuff, the grunge metal scene, that's really, really fucking good music and shit, right? And it deserved to be up there at the top and shit. But it completely destroyed the glam rock. That shit got wiped out. But Michael Jackson was still such a big star and stuff. He was still able to produce music and still be the icon of Michael Jackson and stuff, right? But not in the like music icon of the listening to the records of what's popular and stuff. Like, what are the teenage kids listening to? Right? At that time, the teenage kids are going to be listening to freaking Nirvana and Pearl Jam and shit, right? Not fucking Michael Jackson. And that's what I'm going to show you another part of that too. I'm going to show you another piece on this here. So in this thing, album of the year, and see if they show some. Okay, so there's Bad was Michael Jackson. So album of the year, they're giving the award for album of the year. Michael Jackson was one of those, right? And see, here he is he's on the side. So like I said, when they show the Michael Jackson disappointment stuff, okay, he had just given a live performance, I guess. So he's backstage. He's not in the crowd at the time when they're announcing this, right? He's not in the crowd at this time. So if people in the Michael Jackson community try to show you like that Michael was disappointed that he didn't win the award, it's like, well, he was backstage. So in that red jacket, that's not even the same reaction to this. This is like little things that they do and stuff. And it's like, well, it's deceiving and shit, right? So there was Michael. Then there was U2, the Joshua Tree. And then, what's this one here? Oh, it's a Prince album. I can see Prince over here now. So there was a Prince album there. There's Prince. So there's a Prince album. And then Diana Ross is the actual person, which is like another one of those, how ironic and shit, right? How ironic that it was Diana Ross. It was kind of, I wonder, like, if the Grammys did that intentionally because they would have known that it was not going to be Michael Jackson, and they know this big connection with the Diana Ross and Michael. So if they set her up there to not give it to Michael, is kind of like is just ironic that it was Diana Ross giving this award and shit, right? Okay, so Diana Ross is the one who announces it. She announces it's U2 Joshua Tree, right? And then on this video, I don't have, I guess, on this video, because there's different ones. Okay, but U2 Joshua Tree won. Okay, and so what I'm going to show you here is like, okay, the U2 Joshua Tree. Okay, so let me put this like this and stuff. Make sure you guys can see it. Okay, so now this is like part of my personal CD collection and shit, right? Okay, I've got U2 Joshua Tree. Okay, so I have this CD. So the CD that won, yeah, that's what we were listening to back then. We were listening to U2 Joshua Tree. You wouldn't be listening to, here's the thing of what I'm saying. Okay. After Thriller, nobody ever would play Michael Jackson music. If you were around, there's no friend of mine that ever would have played Michael Jackson. There's no place where I would have went to somebody's house and they would have played Michael Jackson. There's no car that I would have got into and somebody would have put in a Michael Jackson CD. But you know something that would have been U2 Joshua Tree. That's the kind of album I'll still play it today. You know, this is the kind of album that, yeah, I'll put this fucking, if I'm going to take on a drive, yeah, I'll put that fucking CD in my CD player and I'll go take a drive and shit, right? If I went over to somebody's house, yeah, I'd put that in the fucking CD player and shit. And everybody would smoke weed, everybody hanging out and shit. That'd be fucking good music and shit, right? Michael Jackson would never appear in those kind of worlds. I mean, it would be like Bob Marley stuff, you know? Bob Marley would be a big one. There's like times I was big into the Grateful Dead, you know? So there'd be like Grateful Dead and shit, right? But you would there would never be a Michael Jackson. Never, ever. The people that listen to music and stuff, that just never would happen. I'm going to show you another thing. I have these two CD cases, right? I'm going to show you a little bit. So I have two of these. This case I probably bought this case in like 1996, right? I actually bought this case. So this was the coolest case back in the day. It was like a leather case and it's got like felt on the inside for, you know, so these are cases I used to keep in my car and shit for sure, like all the time and shit, right? So here I'm gonna show you this case. Let's see here. Okay, let me put this down here like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go through this. So this is my CD case. These are CDs that are in here. Okay, so over on the left is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I think that's his like greatest hits one, but it was when he released the song like Last Dance with Mary Jane and shit. He like, that was a new song, but it was he released it like on a greatest hits album, right? So like that Tom Petty, dude, there's no fucking chance that I would ever play a Michael Jackson record over that Tom Petty. You want to talk about like one of my super most fucking somebody I fucking love, Tom Petty. Tom Petty is like big. And it's like, so there's Tom Petty. This is Soundgarden right here, the Bad Motor Finger. This is the kind of shit that I would be listening to, right? This yellow one, that's a Pumpkins. That was I think it's called Gish. It was the one that was released. It was like extra songs. They had like a bunch of extra songs and they just made like another album and shit, right? And then right there is U2 Joshua Tree. See, it's in my case. The U2 Joshua Tree is in my case. And you can tell the kind of music of what I listen to just right there off of those four. You can tell. But so then there's this is be a weird one. And see, this is the kind of thing this one here is Erasure. Because I was big into Erasure and shit, right? So the fact that I have an Erasure in here is crazy. And then over here is Bob Marley, Reggae Fever. Okay, so then there's a Nirvana right there on the right. Then there's a Audio Slave. So like this is the music that I would listen to and shit, right? There's another Bob Marley. That one over there. Snow Patrol. This one is underrated. Yeah, this Snow Patrol, Eyes Open. So I probably might have two Snow Patrols, but that one I really like. That there's one that I really like. I have a couple Snow Patrols, but I'm not sure if that's the good one, but I think it is and shit. But I have that. Here's Lenny Kravitz, Let Love Rule. Fucking that album, I fucking love it. There's Alice in Chains, Dirt. You know, so this is the stuff. This is what I'm going to be listening to and shit, right? And there's Nirvana. That's the Unplugged up there. What's this here? I think it's like a Grateful Dead or something. Yeah, Grateful Dead. See, like I said, even Grateful Dead. And over here, there's a Nirvana, Nevermind. Here's Temple of the Dog. Right here is Temple of the Dog, right? Which is like, if you know, you know, and shit, right? So, and then Collective Soul, Pink Floyd, The Wall. This is Stone Temple Pilots, that one there. And this is another Stone Temple Pilots over there. So that's the first two Stone Temple Pilots CDs. Okay, so that's one of my cases. And then here's my other case. But the chance you were going to find a Michael Jackson in here is going to be slim and none. There's a picture of me when I was younger in here, but I'm not going to show you that. Okay, so there's like Fleetwood Mac Greatest Hits. Like, goddamn, what a fucking Fleetwood Mac. Oh my God, they're so fucking good. My God, they're good. This is a Doors album and shit because I love the Doors. This one right there is a Blind Melon. That's a Blind Melon album. And there's a John Lennon collection. So it's a John Lennon. And then like this is one that people you wouldn't think that I would. This is Natalie Merchant and shit, right? Fucking love that fucking record and shit. This is Smashing Pumpkins over here. This one here. This is the Smiths, Queen is Dead. See, the Smiths, Queen is Dead. That fucking, I fucking love that fucking CD. This is a Blink 182 CD right here. Then this is Jane's Addiction. I fucking love that CD. See, here's another Snow Patrol. This might be the one. Like I said, I know that I have a couple Snow Patrols, but one is the really good one. The other one I don't think was so good and stuff. One of those is really good. This here is this Lenny Kravitz, the My Mama Said, and this is the Doors. Is it LA Woman, or it's Morrison Hotel? Yeah, so the Doors, another Doors. So this is another Doors album and shit there. Like this is really a good example of the stuff I listen to. This is the Elton John Greatest Hits kind of thing. There's a couple CDs there. What's this one up here? This is The Cure. Oh, that one is fucking awesome and shit. That fucking Cure fucking is awesome. Here's Jimi Hendrix Experience and shit. Electric Ladyland. There's Prince. See, I even got Prince Purple Rain. Prince's Purple Rain is fucking amazing. I fucking love Prince's Purple Rain. That's fucking Dark Side of the Moon. Here's another Snow Patrol. Like I said, I had a few of those, but this might be the good one. One of them's the really good one and shit. And then the other one there is NWA Straight Outta Compton and shit, right? So, like I said, there's no Michael Jackson in there, right? There's no Michael Jackson in there. So that's what I'm saying is about the people that they buy all these Michael Jackson records and shit, and it's like, you guys are not real music fans. You guys are fans of the icon of what Michael Jackson is, the image. And that's why I'm thinking that the estate is selling the songs and stuff, because they still own the name Michael Jackson, and it's his image and his likeness and stuff, right? They're not selling that stuff off. And with that stuff is where you can make all your endorsement deals, you can make all your merchandise, there's all kinds of stuff related to that kind of thing that they still own and shit, right? That's like if they sell a record and stuff, well, you would still have to they still would own the name Michael Jackson. So that's the thing. It's like maybe the songs they own like that with the business stuff that you would have to actually understand the real details of how the things work and shit, right? But that's what I'm saying is like that the fans, in reality, the fans I don't think they care about the songs because they can't care about the songs. I mean, I know they don't care about the songs because they don't. I've tried to explain the songs, what they actually mean, and I've been in here. They absolutely do not care. And I can tell you this has actually happened. This happened with Hector Barjot. If you're in the Michael Jackson community, you know who Hector Barjot is, who's got the biggest fucking Michael Jackson collection and shit, right? And I had conversation with him trying to explain to him what the song Billie Jean meant, and he straight out told me he did not care. Hector Barjot told me he did not care what the song was about. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you about the Michael Jackson fans. They're not into music. They don't really love music, right? And they don't care what Michael Jackson's songs are about. They care about the image. Oh, we made the video, and then it's the way he dresses, and then it's all his collectibles, and it's this other weird thing that takes place. They're not into music. They don't really care about music and shit, and that's why they only buy Michael Jackson shit. It's that they don't even listen to other music. It's like, dude, there's a lot of other music, really good fucking shit out there. Really, there's music is just amazing. There's so much good shit. And like I said, I respect Michael Jackson. I understand the talent and the artist of what he is. I've always understood that shit, right? But there's no chance you would ever find a Michael Jackson in my CD case. It would not ever be there because that's the music that I actually listen to. That music. Yeah, every one of those CDs that's in there, except like the Snow Patrol, those ones, is because I liked the first Snow Patrol album I really, really liked, and I did buy the other two, and I was wanting to listen to them. I probably listened to them a little bit, and I put them in my case and stuff, but I don't think I ever really, really listened to those ones. That's the only ones that doesn't fit that's in my cases there is those other, because like I said, I got the 3 Snow Patrols. But it's only the first one that I really, really liked, which I love that fucking album. It's an album I fucking love and shit. I'd listen to it all the time. But I have to go back and listen to it for a while and shit. Because I'm mostly just listening to the radio, like in my car and stuff now at times. I don't really listen to CDs much anymore and shit, right? But anyways, but showing you, like I said, I've had those cases since '95, and a lot of those CDs I've had for a long time. So like all the times I've driven across country and shit, right? Where I just listen to music and stuff, and it's like, no, all those times when I was driving across country and all the times it's all the stuff, it's like, dude, never any Michael Jackson. Anytime I ever went to any friend's house, never Michael Jackson would never, ever be played. He's not that kind of music. And I think that represents too, like the fans and stuff, that they don't listen to his songs. They don't care about his songs. That they care about this image. And that could be a reason of why like the estate is willing to let some of his songs go and stuff, because they really don't, they understand that that's not what they're selling. It's not about the songs. It's about the name Michael Jackson and the image of Michael Jackson. That's what they're going to continue to own and sell off to all the stupid fans. They're going to make their money selling that to the fans because that's what the fans are interested in. They don't really care about who Michael Jackson actually was. They don't care about the actual person, Michael Jackson, which is proven that they don't, because they don't really care about the songs. They don't understand the songs and shit. They don't care. They don't, they're all fake and shit, right? So, all right, talked enough and shit, right? I got to get going. I got shit to do and shit, right? So yeah, I'm leaving, and you definitely aren't going to see me for a long time because like I said, I've had such a bad experience and shit here. This is it. This is it. I don't want to come back in here anymore. I don't plan on coming back in here. I hope I don't need to. I hope there's no need for me to even come around here and shit, right? I definitely want to stay away for a long fucking time. I don't want to come around here and shit. I don't want to do any more of this stuff. The fans are just horrible, horrible people. They're fake. They don't actually care about what music actually is. You're not music fans. Therefore, how could you ever be a Michael Jackson fan, which you're not? You're not music fans. You could never be a Michael Jackson fan. And like I said, even with me being a music fan, I can appreciate his stuff and all the stuff, but he would never be in my CD case and shit. After he died and shit, they released an album and shit. There was an album that got released. Not that this is it. There was another album and stuff. There was one that was good and that I liked. I listened to it and stuff for a while. It was in my car at that time and I was listening to it. But once I took it out again and stuff, it would never go back. I would never play it. That was the only time that I remember listening to Michael Jackson after, but that was after he died and shit, So and then he had some new songs I wanted to listen to him and shit. So, but that was the only time I can remember listening to Michael Jackson again and shit. It would always be the other music and stuff, right? Because like I said, I always smoked weed and hung out with people, and Even at my job, this one, any of the jobs that I work, like one of the jobs I work was like the surf shop type of play. It was a bikini store and sold swimwear and stuff, and sunglasses. And so we had the radio playing all day long and shit, right? But you'd never be Michael Jackson be playing, and there was always be something else. And so there's just so much of, like I showed you the kind of music of what I listen to, and I showed you there's a range of that music, like the fact that Natalie Merchant's in there, and you get like stuff like Erasure. Like a lot of you people probably don't know Erasure. Okay, I seen Erasure in concert twice and shit, right? I was a big Erasure fan and shit, right? I remember hearing when the singer Erasure, it's hilarious. Erasure is one of those ones that's hilarious and shit, right? Because I was a big Erasure fan. See, because that was that music in the 80s. There was like The Cure and the Smiths, Depeche Mode, and Erasure. See, Erasure, the guy that was actually the keyboard player of Erasure, he actually was originally in Depeche Mode and shit. So it's that kind of style of music and shit. And but so it's like that's a whole nother scene of music and shit. So it's this other group that was big in the 80s. So like after the Michael Jackson, you either got into metal, if you weren't into Michael Jackson, like in 84 and shit, right? Because I would have been in school, so I was into Michael Jackson. But a lot of the other kids, I saw the Van Halen was huge, right? The Van Halen thing was a big deal and shit, right? So a lot of the kids, you would have seen the Van Halen was big. I remember Wham, when what's the shirts say, like choose love or whatever, they had all those shirts, because they wore them in the video. So you'd see people wearing the Wham stuff and shit, and then you had the rockers and shit that's like they went into like when like Metallica came in and stuff. And then you had like the glam rock scene and all the stuff that was going on, all the different music genres and shit that were going on. But so then me, like, well, I would have also been into rap because I was like into breakdancing stuff. So I would have been more like into like rap music, and I would have been into like the I guess you call it new wave, because that's in LA. We had a really great radio station called K-Rock, KROQ, which you got to be there in the 80s. KROQ, rock of the 80s. So if you were in LA and you were listening to K-Rock and listening to the rock of the 80s at that time and shit, right? Which you never would have had Michael Jackson on there, but it would have been like all the Depeche Modes and like bands like that, like the Smith and the Cures and the fucking Erasure and like all kinds of bands like that, all kinds of really cool shit. That was one great radio station back then at that time. That's what you would have listened to and shit. So I said, like after the Michael Jackson stuff, then I would have got more into like rap and stuff. I would have been all into like the Depeche Mode, like those bands and shit, right? That's the music. Because I wasn't into the glam rock stuff. I was into the Depeche Mode, even though there's like organs and synthesizers and shit, that's real music. The people might think it was like, no, that's fake. No, that was real music. Those are real musicians. That's real music. That shit is really fucking good. All those bands, those are real bands. They're real music and shit, right? Really good songs. So that would have been more of the scene. Like all the people that I hung around, all my friends, they all would have been like Depeche Mode, and the Smiths and the Cure, like all those bands. Those would have been the big bands and shit, right? So, and then when Bad came out, like I said, that he called it Bad, that fucked it up because the whole rest of the Bad album is really good. But that first initial, because that was the initial music that we got after Thriller. And when he came out with Bad, and he looked different, and I did not like the song Bad. It's clearly the worst song on the Bad album. It's clearly Bad's the worst song. And it came out quick. It was one of the first songs released as far as what I remember. I don't know. I didn't like it. Just didn't like it and shit, right? Because then I remember that kind of turned me off, where we were like, okay, excited. We got the new Michael album. But then the Bad thing turned me off. And then so I kind of, right there, it turned me off a little bit, right? But then I remember the videos, because we still had MTV back then. Then the videos start coming out for the Bad album. And it's just one after another. Like, damn, this fucking shit's good. It's like, damn, this shit's good and shit, right? It's really good. But he fucked it up with the Bad, because people were so waiting for that, and that song Bad, and it fucked it up because the whole album was actually really good. If he would have started, if Bad was not on there and the album was called like Man in the Mirror, I think that alone would have completely changed like the vision, the future, like where the vision of how it's not the perspective. I can't think of the right word of what I was thinking, but how it was at that time. If the album just would have been called, or it would have been called Smooth Criminal. If instead of being Bad should just never have been on the album. It shouldn't have been called Bad. It should have been called like Smooth Criminal. If it would have been called Smooth Criminal, damn. And then boom, he would have hit people right off the fucking bat with the fucking Smooth Criminal video. Because damn, when Smooth Criminal came out, that was like where people were like, damn, holy shit, this is fucking good. That's, you know, people would still be talking about it, but it was not the music. It never carried that weight where it got back into like the music scene where it became one of the records that you would listen to. It just wasn't like that. It fucked it up. The Bad, like I said, the song Bad and calling the Bad album and with him looking a little bit different, it fucked shit up. It fucked shit up because then, like I said, because then all the videos started coming out and it was just one after another. Damn, this is good. Because I remember even one of my friends, I remember this happening, that like when Smooth Criminal came out, that it was like, damn, that Smooth Criminal fucking shit's good, you know? It's like, damn, because it stepped his game up. It was good. It was so good. It was so good and shit, right? But it fucked it up. He fucked it up by how it happened and shit, the way it happened and stuff. It took him out of the year. Joshua Tree. It's not bad. We're actually listening to, even though the shit was so good, it wasn't everywhere. It just wasn't like that again. It was never, and Michael Jackson never ever got back there. After that, he never got back to that place where it was like everybody was listening to Michael Jackson. And now it's like Michael Jackson's there and stuff. It's just not the same way. He's not like one of those bands, like I say, he's not one of the albums and stuff that you would have in your CD that other people, like I should have like the Bad album. Because the Bad album's fucking awesome. I freaking love the Bad album. That album is incredible, except the song Bad. It fucked it all up. And the name of the album, that's what fucked shit up. And him looking different, it just put people off and shit. And it's like, it's not like he was fucking all these hot Hollywood bitches and shit. And everybody knew by the time he gets there, and it's like, yeah, you ain't fucking Hollywood bitches. This is weird. Something about this is weird now. There was something else weird, which nobody ever actually understood what it was. And it was the problem that Michael Jackson had as being an abandoned child is what caused, there was this other thing going on, which we could see that something was going on, but nobody understood what it was. And that what it actually was is that Michael was an abandoned child is the whole thing. That his real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. And Michael's writing songs like Dirty Diana. Like how much more does he got to say? The fact that he called the song Dirty Diana, which I say he never, ever, ever, ever would have done that because of who Diana Ross is in Michael Jackson's life. He never, ever, ever, even if the song wasn't about her, he never, ever would have wrote a song called Dirty Diana. And it's not possible unless you hear my story that Michael's actually an abandoned child, that Diana Ross, you know, it was her going after Smokey, that she's the original Billie Jean groupie. And because that's what... There was a funny thing with Matt's FTR. He was talking about Billie Jean and stuff, right? And he was saying, no, Billie Jean, those are, because I had said something about a groupie thing. And Matt was making a distinction of a groupie or a gold digger, something like that. I can't remember. But Matt even said, he said, no, the Billie Jean, he said, those are the ones that they waited back. They're the ones that wait at backstage doors and stuff, right? And it's like, yeah, Michael said that in one of his articles. Michael said about Billie Jean, he said, yeah, they wait at backstage doors. But that's a line from the song Dirty Diana. She waits at backstage doors for those who have prestige. They promise fortune and fame, a life that's so carefree. That's a line from Dirty Diana. She waits at backstage doors. That's a line from the song Dirty Diana, which Michael applied to the understanding of this Billie Jean character, right? And so I was saying, there's just so much more there. It's all obviously there. It's there. But it's the true story of what you got to understand and why Michael would do that and stuff. It's like, well, because he was abandoned as a child. And this is where he's trying to tell his song and he's putting it out. And the only way that he could do it in his art, the thing that's going to last eternally and shit, the only way that, because he cannot tell the truth. Same thing with Smokey and Diana. They've been exposed now. They know that the story is out there. The official story has been discovered and somebody has put it out there, but they haven't come out and talked about it at all. They sure as hell ain't going to deny it. And if they do, I could legally sue them at that point. So I would think that they would have talked to their lawyers and have an understanding. There's a thing about that they should know that if they deny that, that's slander. They're calling me a liar. And shit, I could actually technically sue them, which I don't know that I actually would ever do that, but technically I could do that. So they have to watch what they say, because if they come out and say that the story is wrong, they've slandered me, because I'm the one saying that this is the story. So, and this is true. I'm saying it's true. So if they come out and say it's not true, they've called me a liar, which is slander, and I could sue them for that. right? So technically, I don't know if they actually will ever do that. But if they do, I don't think I'll ever sue them, but I could, right? I know I could. I'm not the one who's scared here of them. I'm not scared of any of they've got all the fame and the glory and the riches and the lawyers, everything. I am absolutely not afraid of them. I've made that blatantly clear and obvious. I'm fucking going after them, trying to get this fucking story fucking known and shit. I've sent shit. Smokey knows who I am. Smokey knows my name. He's got my fucking email address. He's got my phone number and shit. I've sent him all kinds of shit. I'm not hiding from these people. There's none of them. I'm not hiding from them. They're the ones, Taj Jackson, the one blocking me. I'm not the one that's not trying to have the conversation. They won't have the conversation because they can't have the conversation because I will fucking destroy them. Just like I do with all the fake Michael Jackson fans, right? So, okay. So that's it. It is what it is. In reality, I don't want to say thank you to all you people. In reality, I'm fuck you, fuck all you. That's how I feel. You motherfuckers have allowed this to continue. You allowed Lisa Marie Presley to die without fucking knowing the truth. You allowed Aaron Carter to fucking die without fucking knowing the truth. How many more people are you going to allow to die before you give them a chance to hear the truth and have understanding of who Michael Jackson actually fucking was? You people do nothing. Personalized that could help clarification and understanding of the real world and all the bigger picture. You people do nothing. So this is it. I'm done with you motherfuckers. Fuck you all. An American Scheme out.